And now he's just
That was a while ago. Yeah.
and I think he's
From time it was born, I reckon.
off to a bit of what? He's better now, because Charlie brings him in, so brings him in every morning, and he knocks down any of the now he's going
Sorry.
Missing one of the few ones I found.
Oh, yeah. Who's your teacher? Yeah.
One of the worst cars that was the fuel car for me. But it's been found.
James started this new job last week, and he's had the week off. So I'm trying to say to him, I'm going to go to work.
You can see
I
now.
was saying to him, I'm going to go to another phone again. And Charlie said,
Amy?
they rang me about 10 to 8 on Tuesday. Can you come and get it? So he went straight away to Adam's. Yeah, yeah. So he said,
Yeah, it was always nice.
So we're doing that Christmas.
You would never get paid that much. I doubt it. She think you paid a fee to get into it. It's $20 to go. Here took half a load in the wagon there. Yeah, 21.
How was your leave? Yeah, good. Yeah, free. Yeah. We had it just at the footy club. Yeah. Yeah, started on the 19th January.
You were lucky to get in so quick.
Yeah, it's so good to get straight out of grade 10. Really is. Yeah, Thomas go up, so they do business. There's going to be, it's a pretty small business, so it's going to be Thomas Gardens, another one
very end.
Yeah, and he said her house just lit up with the red on it. Yeah, and because they're in the yeah, she said all lit up. So I said, yeah, lit up, and she said no. Yeah, it was about 11:30.
Oh, no, it's hot outside. They've just got a bit back and go live in. It's just got a bit to cool down. It's okay.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's raining. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
That wonderful mother of mine. The moon never beams without bringing me dreams of that wonderful mother of mine. The birds never sing, but a message they bring of that wonderful mother of mine. Just to bring back time that was so sweet to me, just to bring back the days when I sat on her knee. I pray every night to our Father above for that wonderful mother of mine. I ask him to keep her as long as he can, that wonderful mother of mine. There are treasures on earth that made life seem worthwhile, but there's none that can compare to my mother's smile. You are a wonderful mother, dear old mother of mine. You'll hold a spot deep down in my heart. Till the stars no longer shine, your soul shall live on forever, or through the fields of time, for there will never be another to me like that wonderful mother of mine. Good morning, dear family and friends. My name is Louise Ellings and I'm incredibly humbled and privileged to stand here today as we celebrate the life of a beautiful and kind woman, Margaret Borland Harman. Along with Tamara of Westella and her team, we would like to offer you our deepest sympathies. Today we come together to honour Margaret's life as a wife, mother, mother-in-law, sister, grandmother, auntie and friend, and so much more. Margaret has worn many hats, but at her heart, she was family. We gather here not to just mourn Margaret's passing, but to celebrate her life, which wasn't always a bed of roses, but she soldiered on and made the best of what she had and wherever she was with her family. She did the best she could for her children, the kindness she shared, the love she gave, and the memories she created. On behalf of Margaret's family, I sincerely thank you for your presence here today, and also to those who are here via live stream, I welcome you as well. It is clear that Margaret touched many of your lives in some way. Your attendance shows your love, support, and willingness to share in both the happy and the sad memories. And although her time with us has come to an end, her memory will live on deep in the hearts of all those who knew and loved her. For anything truly loved is never lost or forgotten, and Margaret was loved by many. Margaret was born on the 13th of December 1930 at the North Perth Maternity Hospital, Western Australia, to proud parents John and Elizabeth Allison McCrone, who had come to Australia from Scotland in the early 1900s. And she passed away on Wednesday, the 10th of December 2025, at nearly 95 years old. What an amazing achievement. She passed peacefully, although family not totally expecting it quite so soon after, as she had been asked the day before, "Do you want to go and be with Dad?" Her quick reply was, "Oh no, I've got too much living to do." Margaret had one sibling, Jimmy, now deceased. They had quite a strict upbringing in Ruby Street, North Perth, with their mum being the stricter parent. This is possibly why Margaret and Jimmy would take every opportunity to go to work with their dad, who was a milkman and drove a horse and cart. These were very happy and very special times for them both. Margaret also had a pet dog named Rover, which was also a very important part of her childhood. Margaret attended North Perth Primary and high schools, later going on to do business studies and bookkeeping at Business College. But then she went on to become a registered nurse, and she ended up moving to Wongan Hills, 182 kilometres from Perth, all the while having a long-distance romance with Eddie Harman, who she had also met through her brother Jimmy. Margaret and Eddie married on the 17th of December 1955 and subsequently went on to have two children, Stuart and Alison. In 1970, they left their home in Jarrahdale, Western Australia, and travelled and started the travelling lifestyle for quite a few years. They went to Mount Tom Price, then to Paraburdoo, which was a new mine in the Pilbara region where Eddie was employed. Margaret was also employed as a cleaner at Mount Tom Price and a cook at Paraburdoo. I'm sure it wasn't an easy life, especially with children in tow, but they always seemed to manage. Margaret loved to cook and was excellent at it, and was well known for her famous Bombalaska dessert. Margaret, Eddie and the kids left Paraburdoo in 1975, travelling to various places fruit picking, then finding their way to Mount Isa before moving to Tasmania. They moved to Devonport, then to Ulverston for a few years before heading back to the mainland, where they lived with John and Sandra while helping them with their two boys. They would often pack up, go off and then come back again. They finally settled in Tasmania around 1994. Boy, I'm exhausted just thinking about all those moves. In approximately 2011, Eddie had a stroke and was in care for 5 years before he passed away. Margaret was 79 years old and has lived on her own since then. She didn't socialise a lot, but would head off to bingo occasionally. She enjoyed reading, watching TV and a good movie. Margaret also loved to crochet until her arthritis put a stop to that. She was a very independent woman, and can you believe it? She actually handed in her driver's licence at 90 years old. What a woman. Margaret will be dearly missed by Stuart and Alison and all of her grandchildren, Ian, Andrew, David, Robert and Naomi. Great-grandchildren, Lily, Jackson, Riley, Ricky, Amy, Molly, Hunter, Claire and Portia, and great-great-grandson, Kai. I will now read some more of the memories from Margaret's family. From Norma, Jennifer and Gail. We fondly remember Auntie Margaret as warm, friendly and always graced with the nicest smile and an amazing infectious laugh. Visiting Auntie Margaret and Uncle Eddie was always a treat, often at a different home. They moved around the country and the state frequently, yet distance never diminished how lovely and easy it was to catch up with them. They would visit our home sometimes by surprise, and we would have joyous memories of us all gathered around Mum and Dad's kitchen table, enjoying lively banter and listening to Auntie Margaret's wonderful laugh. Norma recalls visiting their home twice in Tasmania and cherished the time spent together. Gail fondly remembers dancing around the lounge room to rock and roll with Uncle Eddie, while Mum and Auntie Margaret looked on with beaming smiles. Auntie Margaret's warmth and laughter will remain in our hearts forever, a beautiful reminder of the joy and love that she brought to our lives. It's beautiful. Auntie Margaret from Bob Bristow. As a child, I liked Auntie Margaret right from the first time I met her, when Uncle Eddie said to the family something like, "This is my wife-to-be." Eddie was my mum's brother. At that time, the family used to congregate at Granddad Harman's place in North Perth. We all seemed to turn up there every second weekend, and it's no secret why. The men of the family were staunch West Perth WA Football League supporters, and the home ground was just up the road. So all the men would disappear on Saturday afternoon, leaving the mums, aunties and kids behind to do what they enjoyed doing most. Kids playing and the women chatting about anything and everything, whilst engaged in knitting, crocheting and embroidery, sitting along the sun-drenched veranda of Granddad's place. I can't remember exactly how old I was when Uncle Eddie brought Margaret to the family. There was something about her that I liked. Perhaps it was her fresh view of life, probably a bit less conservative than some. This appealed to me for some reason. She was friendly, candid and fun. Because of the way that families drift off, I hadn't seen Auntie Margaret for many years. However, in 2015, Yvonne and I decided to visit Tasmania, and I included a visit to see Auntie Margaret and Uncle Eddie. I was so glad we did, as Uncle Eddie died not long afterwards. We liked Tasmania so much that we decided to visit again this year. In May, we dropped in to see Auntie Margaret for a cuppa and a long chat. She was still the same person I grew to like as a child. Goodbye, Auntie Margaret. It was a pleasure knowing you. Bob and Yvonne Bristow. Auntie Margaret, what I remember firstly was coming up to your pink house to visit you, and it was the only one in the street, LOL. But the good days, as I got older, was you singing around the piano with my mum, your sister-in-law and Uncle Eddie, and my dad, your brother Jimmy, in the kitchen drinking beer. All the canasta nights, early mornings and the bingo. Then sometimes I went with you and Uncle Eddie doing the paper run at the Hollywood Hospital. We used to have long chats on the phone. I'll miss our chats. Auntie Margaret, you were a very strong-minded person and stayed strong to the end. I love you and will miss you. Rest in peace, Debbie. Now I'd like to introduce Roseanne to come and...
Hello everyone. I first met Margaret and Eddie not long after becoming friends with Alison and Peter. So I guess that has to be 45 years ago. At first I was unsure of Margaret. Do I be on my best behaviour or just be me? Because I could tell she was from the old school, very strict with all the right morals. As I got to know her and warmed to her, I just decided to be me. Margaret and Eddie loved to go to the farm get-togethers, especially up the farm. They really enjoyed being part of the shenanigans. I don't think Eddie ever wanted to leave, but I can still hear her saying, "Come on, Eddie, it's time we left," much to Eddie's resentment. Her distinct words, "Well, Ellie, Dad and I are leaving now," and off they would go, with Alison saying, "Yes, now we can play up," something to that effect. As the years went by, Margaret and Eddie become very private people, choosing not to go far, especially after Alison and Peter left Tassie. They loved each other unconditionally. Margaret succumbing to much loneliness when Eddie took ill and had to go into care. She visited him regularly, and when he passed, it was an honour for me to escort her and great-grandson Hunter to WA and be able to honour her beloved Eddie, scattering his ashes. My favourite time with Margaret was when I used to perm her hair. She sat there like the lady she was feeling important with the personal attention. I would also massage her legs, which she was truly grateful for, though between us, I think Eddie was too, so he didn't have to do it. The last week of your life was very hard watching you slipping away. It was an honour to be with Sis Alison at this very sad time, but it also was an honour and privilege to have known a lady like Margaret. R.I.P. forever now with Eddie.
I now have one from granddaughter Naomi. One thing I remember about Nan is that she was very set in her ways. She knew how she liked things done, and she stayed consistent in that. It's something I've always associated her with. Although I'm in Western Australia, my thoughts are with everyone in Tasmania as you gather to say goodbye and to acknowledge her life. Thank you, Alison. Now I would like to ask grandson Andrew, followed by Ian, to share some memories.
Nan and Pop always had a love for us grandkids. Would take us on adventures. Pop loved his fishing. Nan would always be at home waiting for those fish to clean and cook for him. And that's where I got my passion for cooking, was from Nan. She taught me all the basics, going to the cupboard, finding basic things and making a meal out of it. She taught me patience. One lesson that I'll never forget is she taught me how to do meringues off a bread and butter plate and a butter knife. I said to her, that doesn't work. It needs to be whisked. She showed me the technique, and lo and behold, we had meringues. The cards, that was another big thing. Nan and Pop taught me Eureka, Canasta, Gin Rummy, Patience, Solitaire, all those card games. And they've stuck with me today. It's been great. I know at times it was difficult with Nan. She had her strict upbringing. And it was, as Roseanne said, she had her ways. And if you didn't follow them, it was Pop that followed through. We love you, Nan. And we know that you're up there with Pop.
I have so many memories of my Nan, from my first one as a young boy, going on a trip of Western Australia and seeing places like Kalgoorlie, Paraburdoo and Tom Price, to doing things like visiting the zoo, going night fishing. I remember going to Nan's on the weekends and having the tent set up in the backyard and camping out. Learning to cook with Nana as I got older is one of my favourite memories. She taught me how to make a marshmallow slice, which is still one of my favourites, and she made the best lemon meringue pie ever. There is so many more memories I have of her, which I will always cherish and remember. Nan, you were and always will be a strong, independent and loving person. You may be gone, but never forgotten. Forever in my heart, love you, Nan.
Thank you, everyone, for your beautiful words. Margaret, the Lord saw you getting tired, and a cure was not to be. So he put his arms around you and whispered, "Come with me." With tearful eyes, we watched you suffer and saw you fade away. Although we loved you dearly, we could not make you stay. A golden heart stopped beating, your beautiful smile at rest. God broke our hearts to prove that he only takes the best. Move on to the photo presentation now.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They're like much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, yeah. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying Okay, so it's for Gabby.
Thank you to those who put together the beautiful story of Margaret's life. I'm sure she would have been thrilled to see how her life has been celebrated. A limb has fallen from the family tree. I hear a voice that whispers, "Grieve not for me." Remember the best times, the laughter, the songs, the good I lived while I was strong. My mind is at ease, my body at rest, remembering all how I was truly blessed. Continue traditions, no matter how small. When days are sad and lonely and everything goes wrong, we hear you whisper, "Cheer up," and carry on. Each time we see your picture, you seem to smile and say, "Don't cry, I'm in God's keeping. We'll meet again someday." Now, this part of the service is now coming to a close. And as we remember Margaret, I pray that you will be all granted the strength you need as you remember her and continue to live your lives without her. Let us be grateful for the life of Margaret, and may our hearts balance the loss with gratitude of the many years that we shared with her. May Margaret's memories always bring you joy, comfort and strength as you face each new day. The tide recedes but leaves behind bright seashells on the sand. The sun goes down but gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops and yet it echoes on in sweet refrains. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains. Thank you. We will now all head out to the veranda. We've got some rose petals just to sprinkle on the garden in a nice remembrance of Margaret. And then please join us for refreshments after we've done this. And then you can share some more memories of Margaret over a cuppa. And thank you.